At exactly midnight UTC, every trusted clock on Earth begins giving a different answer. Your phone says 12 hours, 0 minutes, 3 seconds. The bank says 11 hours, 59 minutes, 58 seconds. The cell tower outside insists it is already 12 o'clock, 7 seconds. A few seconds sounds harmless. Then your map loses the timing signals it uses to calculate position. Some calls fail as towers slip out of sync. Trading systems pause because nobody can verify which transaction happened first. The lights do not all go out. Planes do not fall from the sky. Most critical systems have backup clocks, and for a while they coast. But every clock drifts. Tiny disagreements widen. Security logs contradict one another. Automated safeguards begin rejecting events that appear to come from the future. By lunchtime, the world's most valuable resource is not electricity, data, or fuel. It is a trustworthy answer to one absurdly simple question. What time is it? And the real disaster begins when different parts of civilization choose different answers. To understand why, forget the clock on the wall. Shared time is an invisible utility. UTC is not one master clock hidden in a building. It is an international reference built by comparing clocks maintained by national laboratories. Your devices normally meet that agreement through layers of distribution: satellite signals, network servers, radio links, and local infrastructure. We rarely notice those layers because, on a normal day, their answers are close enough to feel like one answer. GPS is the strangest layer. Every satellite carries atomic clocks and broadcasts precisely timed signals. A receiver compares when those signals arrive to estimate both its position and the error in its own clock. So GPS is also a global clock service disguised as a blue dot. Base stations synchronize with it. Grid sensors timestamp measurements with it. Financial systems use it to record events. The signal helping Milo find coffee is also helping machines agree on what just happened. In our scenario, all the major routes to shared time begin contradicting one another at once. The signals still arrive, the servers still reply. Their answers simply cannot be reconciled. A cautious system does not pick a favorite at random. It raises an alarm and switches to holdover. Stop listening, keep counting locally. For the first few minutes, this looks competent. Towers hum, data centers stay lit. The machines have not forgotten time. They have lost the ability to check one another. Holdover is a race between clocks. A phone contains a cheap crystal designed to be good enough for a person. A network facility may use a carefully controlled oscillator. A laboratory can maintain an atomic reference. Each keeps counting, but temperature, age, and vibration pull them differently. The problem is not that every clock suddenly becomes wildly wrong. It is that each becomes slightly wrong in its own direction, and there is no trusted referee left to notice. That delay makes the crisis deceptive. In the first hour, equipment with better clocks looks normal. Other systems drift beyond their tolerance and quietly remove themselves. One tower completes a handoff, the next refuses. One server accepts a login, another thinks the ticket was issued in the future. The failure map does not match geography. It matches backup design, maintenance budgets, and sometimes the temperature of an equipment closet. Modernity frays clock by clock. Imagine Milo sends a message at 9:14 according to his phone. The nearby tower labels it 9:13:59. A distant server records 9:14:04. The content arrives intact, but a security system must decide whether the request is new, expired, or a captured message being replayed. Real authentication systems allow some clock difference. Beyond that window, they reject the request. From the server's perspective, refusing a message from the future is not a bug. It is exactly what the safety rule was designed to do. Now repeat that across badge readers, hospital records, factory controls, and cloud sessions. People still know their passwords. The doors are still physically locked. Operators can override systems locally, but every override creates a record whose place in history is disputed. Incident teams see logs in impossible order. The alarm was acknowledged before it sounded. The patch was installed before the intrusion. The payment was approved before the customer asked. The evidence still exists. The timeline does not. Organizations respond by shrinking their circles of trust. Inside one building, a chosen local clock can still order events. Trouble starts at the boundary. When two organizations exchange records, neither can prove its timestamp deserves priority. Administrators add human confirmation. Automated systems collect events into batches instead of settling them instantly. The internet has not disappeared. It is becoming paperwork. By the end of the afternoon, time itself has acquired a bureaucracy. Money does not vanish. Your balance is still a number in a ledger, and each bank can keep its own sequence of events. But markets care about who acted first. If two orders arrive almost together, their order can change the price and decide whether a trade was fair. Without traceable shared time, each venue can defend its own history while challenging everyone else's. Fast trading pauses, not because the computers cannot calculate, but because no audit trail can reliably join their answers. Banks begin operating inside local timing domains. Transfers within one domain clear. Payments crossing into another wait in provisional batches until both sides can compare records. A transfer apparently sent from the future might be legitimate, duplicated, or fraudulent. The timestamp no longer helps you decide. Cash becomes attractive again, not because digital money was erased, but because handing someone a note does not require two distant servers to agree on the second. Soon every payment carries a hidden question. Whose clock governed it? A shop trusts the terminal connected to the city's chosen master time. A delivery company across the regional boundary follows another. Contracts gain temporary clauses for uncertain timestamps. Deadlines become windows. Lawyers begin arguing over 3 seconds with perfectly straight faces. The crisis has moved beyond broken gadgets. It now decides which promises can be proved. Electricity is not switched off by one bad timestamp. The grid has older monitoring paths, local controls, and contingency procedures. But synchronized measurements give operators a wide area view. When the clocks separate, data from two substations can appear to describe the same instant when it does not. Operators stop trusting parts of that picture. They fall back, add safety margins, inspect more, and move more slowly. The grid survives, but it becomes more local, cautious, and less efficient. Transport follows the same pattern. Planes still have pilots and independent instruments. Ships still float. Trains still have signals and dispatchers. But satellite navigation is unreliable. Synchronized networks lose confidence, and every safe fallback handles fewer vehicles. Airports increase spacing. Ports slow movements. Fleets use maps, inertial estimates, radio calls, and human confirmation. Nothing cinematic happens all at once. The world simply loses throughput, and ordinary journeys begin accumulating delay. People adapt faster than global systems. Cities announce an official local time, tied to the best clock they can protect. Perhaps a laboratory, a utility control room, or a data center. Inside the city, meetings and machines begin agreeing again. Crossing the boundary is harder. A train may leave at 8:10 in one domain and arrive at 8:09 in another, without traveling backward. Your appointment is not late until you cross the border. Who gets to choose the clock becomes political. A laboratory offers precision, a utility offers distribution, a military offers security, a large technology company offers convenience. Each wants its reference treated as the master. Some towns follow the National Institute, some businesses follow their own data centers. Trusted time becomes something you can subscribe to, audit, and perhaps fight over. 3 seconds sounds trivial until it decides an access badge, a contract deadline, or whether an emergency order was obeyed. Within days, the world becomes a patchwork of time islands. Inside each island, devices synchronize to a local anchor, and life feels almost normal. At the edges, gateways translate. Every file crossing a boundary carries its local timestamp, the identity of its clock, and an estimate of uncertainty. Human clerks resolve disputed order. Some systems stop pretending they know the exact instant and record only what happened before or after something else. Civilization relearns that order can matter more than the name of the second. Eventually, engineers use a workaround so physical it feels like cheating. If trustworthy time cannot cross the world through wires or radio, move a clock. In this scenario, laboratories seal portable atomic clocks into protective cases, document their departure readings, and send them by guarded aircraft and road. They are not magic. Motion, temperature, and handling still have to be measured. But a courier carries something the network cannot provide, a traceable comparison between two isolated clocks. Milo rides beside one of those cases. When it arrives, technicians do not simply set every clock to match it. They compare it with the local master, calculate the offset, and publish a correction. For the first time in days, two regions can translate their histories. Financial batches settle. Security logs line up well enough to investigate. Navigation and communication networks regain a shared reference in pockets. The cargo is small. Its value lies in the invisible fraction of a second it preserved. Routes emerge between laboratories, data centers, and capitals. Time convoys become scheduled infrastructure. Each trip strengthens the chain of trust, but also reveals an inconvenient truth. Some regions drifted farther than they admitted. Correcting a clock can move a legal deadline, reorder trades, or make an official report wrong. Reconciliation is no longer just an engineering update. It is a negotiation over which version of the recent past becomes official. After weeks, the world does not return to the old invisibility. New agreements require multiple independent time sources, tested holdover, declared uncertainty, and records that preserve where each timestamp came from. Critical systems keep a local order even when the external clock disappears. Cross-border systems store the source of a timestamp, not only its number. Time becomes visible infrastructure, like voltage or water pressure, monitored, backed up, and discussed before it fails. Daily life grows normal again. Milo's oven can be 12 seconds wrong, and nobody cares. What matters is that the bank, the tower, the hospital, and the grid know how wrong their clocks might be, and how to translate between them. Then a portable clock arrives at the border between two regions. Technicians compare the displays. One clock is adjusted by a fraction of a second, and the crowd watches as if a border has moved. We thought civilization was synchronized by clocks. Really, it was synchronized by trust. A clock does not merely tell you what time it is. It tells you which system you trust to decide what happened first.